Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Glue Guys Podcast, episode 6. I am your host, Ethan Larson. Chad, why don't you holler at the people for me?
That's all I got for you today. Football season, football time. I found this toy football here in the office, so I'm locked in. What can I say?
In the office, man. I need to upgrade like you and get an office. I'm just gonna go quick little 1 minute. Okay, watched some college football yesterday. All right,
Shit.
For the first time really in a long time. Texas was finally pretty decent last year, so I watched the okay amount of Texas, but I was actually just watching some overall college football.
Nice.
Kind of was laughing at Michigan, then retroactively felt bad because like they just looked like they weren't even close to the standard that they needed to be at. And their quarterback, they kept talking about, this guy battled through leukemia and then he threw it to the wrong team. And I was just like, dang, that's kind of sad. It was fun for me, though, as a Texas fan, 31-12 in the big house, no big deal. 2-0
I think
here.
I owe Ellinger an apology.
For what?
So he was early on the we're back. It's happened, but he was just a little early on it.
Yeah, exactly. And then also, I got to see, I don't remember if it was last episode or this episode before, I got to see how, champions really
The fall of a
respond to
dynasty.
big win. Champions respond to a big win against an FCS opponent by literally getting their ass kicked by a team that won 6 games last year. But they did have a true freshman quarterback, so that makes it a little bit difficult to play against. I'll let I'm not going to mention any names, but if you know, you know. So for this week, me and Chad are going to be talking a lot of NFL, and then we're going to be playing a game at the end, which I think should be fun. Something to get to know. Do one of us have a little bit of ball knowledge about a couple of different sports, so that'll be fun. Starting off with our NFL, obviously Thursday night was the first game back, Chiefs-Ravens. It was a really good one. I actually stayed up and watched the whole game because I've been missing football. One of my key takeaways I kind of want to stash away for our later segment, but another one was just the fact that the Chiefs kind of just have a system of winning, and you can't really put your finger on it, and you can't really say like they're great at this, they're great at that. Obviously, they have the best player in the NFL, but it just seems like when it comes down to the wire, they're just going to win. And even when it was close late, I never really felt like the Ravens were going to win until they did, and then they didn't, and then that crazy ending. Obviously, it was insane and very close, but it just always felt like the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes had it under control. What did you think as you were watching the game?
Yeah, I actually came away pretty impressed with both teams. I'm not the biggest Ravens fan, to be honest, but I did come away pretty impressed with them. I felt like, I guess we'll just stick with the Chiefs first a little bit since you already started in that direction. I think defensively was where you saw the biggest upgrades from last season. I thought in the playoffs last year their defense actually played pretty good, especially they were able to contain Lamar in the second half of that AFC Championship game last year, and then that momentum kind of carried.
Controlling Lamar in the playoffs.
By the way, I got some shit from one unnamed person for saying that the Baltimore Ravens are the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC. It's just their owner shuts the fuck up. That's literally the only difference. Got some shit for it at first, and then the guy who I mentioned this theory to was like, you know what though? Shit, I can't lie. It's kind of true. Dak 2-5 career in the playoffs. Lamar 2-4. Yes, Lamar did get to the AFC Championship game last year, but he only had to win one playoff game against C.J. Stroud to do it. Not discrediting C.J. Stroud, but just that was a young Houston team. Yeah, so, did he take down the 85 Bears to get there? Absolutely not. Would have been difficult to do so.
4-6 defense.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so I was really impressed with the Chiefs' defense. It's funny you say that they had the game under control because, time of possession, first down, rushes and completions, I think, are kind of three statistics where you can kind of measure which team is a little bit more in control of the game. Obviously, we know turnovers kind of can play a bigger factor in who actually wins or loses than kind of any of that stuff, which, I mean, both teams gave it away. So that kind of evened out. But the Ravens led in all three of those categories. Time of possession, they were 33 to 27. First downs, 25 to 21. And then rushes and completions, they were like 50 something to the Chiefs for like 45, I think it was, which is still a good number. But, so I really like the way the Chiefs defense played, though. I think now they're to the point where they actually have a true difference maker at all three levels. McDuffie, the slot corner, he's one of the best in the NFL. He was really getting there last year. I think this first game, he looked like he was already in midseason form. The linebacking core, it's weird. Nick Bolton was kind of in and out last season with injuries, especially in the playoff run. Leo Chenal stepped up huge, was a huge, asset for them, especially in that Ravens AFC Championship game, and played really well in the Super Bowl. He came back, played really good, had a huge stop, huge pass deflection right before the end of the first half. Ravens were about to go in for a touchdown, and he deflected it. But them two at the linebacking pair, I think, are difference makers. And then, of course, Chris Jones up front, who, was wreaking havoc.
Always around the ball.
The strip sack that he had on Lamar was just... honestly, I was like going through. I rewatched the highlights this morning just to make sure there wasn't anything that I forgot, and I watched that play 4 times just because it's such a textbook pass rush from the interior. Don't let the guard or the tackle, because they actually sent 2 his way. Don't let them get the hands on you. You extend out, swim move, get them off of you, and then all of a sudden you're just in the backfield immediately. So the way he's able to move at his size, look, it's not breaking news at all, but I think that defense can be really, really good. And the offense actually looked better, too, from a team that I thought was okay offensively last year, but a lot more efficient. You can see the addition of Xavier Worthy, how valuable he is immediately. He just adds speed to that team that the Chiefs just love to have. That's kind of been their calling card, speed. And then have you ever been in trouble with the law, then you're definitely going to be a Chief. Rashee Rice.
Receiver core in the league.
Yeah. Speaking of guys who get in trouble off the field, Rashee Rice, I thought was just amazing in that game. Really dominated the middle of the field. Combination of, slant routes, some choice routes there in the middle of the field, third down. He was kind of the guy I felt like Mahomes was looking for.
Finding him in the play, too.
Yeah, exactly. And he's able to accelerate after the catch, which is kind of, brings a different dimension than Kelsey, who we're used to seeing over the middle. Maybe doesn't still have that same acceleration, but is able to get open when needed. But I was pretty long-winded. I hope I didn't take everything. E, what did you see? Anything that I didn't hit on?
No, yeah. I mean, obviously, I was very excited as a Rashee Rice fantasy owner. I was very excited about his performance. If he would have gotten the end zone, it really would have been really impressive. But the guy, again, kind of stepping on some stuff later, but I kind of wanted to bring it up still. Zay Flowers, I was really, really impressed with him, and I guess it makes sense now that I look at the team, but I was just shocked to see how much they were featuring him in the offense. It was once a drive, they were just we're just running the play where we just give the ball to Zay Flowers and just making sure they get him touches. And it's kind of funny because obviously not the same player, but it kind of seems like what the 49ers were doing with Debo a couple of years ago, where it was just all right, we got to run the Debo play now. It's basically just toss Debo the ball and let him run. It's kind of, and I say this in an endearing, not trying to say this in a demeaning way, but it's kind of like a high school kind of type of system. When you see a high school football play, and it's we're just going to run the play where the receiver just runs next to the quarterback, they toss him the ball, and then he gets to run and do whatever he wants to. Yeah, that's kind of how they are with Zay Flowers, and he was really, really good too. I thought he was impressive. I thought those are the two guys that were most impressive on either offense.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt
go on.
No, go ahead. No, keep going.
But
I already stole it.
Because obviously it's so easy to keep your eyes on the quarterbacks, but I wasn't truly impressed with either one. I thought Mahomes, it was more about his control, his poise, his ability to make plays, like you said, in those situations like third down, late in plays, extending stuff. it wasn't anything where it's like he's throwing for 430 yards, throwing 80-yard bombs, anything like that. Very controlled performance from someone that's just like, I'm the best player in the world and I'm just going to win this game. And then Lamar, to me, it just seemed very frantic, very. I mean, he was making plays. He was, picking up third downs with his legs and things like that, but seemed very frantic in the pocket. And again, I know I'm a hater for, bringing this up, but it's just like that's the part that kind of scares me about Lamar when it comes to later in the playoffs when, people start to figure things out, throw different looks at him defensively, and then he just starts doing this. And I mean, when you're tucking the ball when you're still in the pocket, it's like you don't even have your like. There's some times where I see, Mahomes, he's rolling out, and you can clearly see he's about to run, but he's still eyes downfield looking for something. Lamar, it's like, all right, now I'm turned into a ball carrier at this point.
Yeah.
That just because he can throw unless Zay Flowers is wide open with 5 seconds left in the end zone. He can throw the ball. I'm not sitting here trying to say that he is a running back, but it seems like his decision making sometimes is like, you know what, I'm just going to win with my legs, and if I have to give up my arm to do it, then so be it.
Yeah, I thought Lamar had it's funny, I kind of agree with you, especially on the frantic part. I saw a clip on Instagram where Ryan Clark compared him to Russell Westbrook. And I was like, at first I thought it was BS, but then I thought about it, because I think Lamar is a better player, than what Westbrook kind of is / was. Like, when you're talking prime Westbrook, you weren't getting out of the first round. And no matter what you say about Lamar, he's been able to carry teams to a 1 seed, and all that stuff, 2 MVPs. So I'm not the biggest. Yeah, exactly. So, but I think it's the same thing you talked about, where it's that chaotic franticness, not necessarily the highest trust level, play in and play out. But then you look down at the stat sheet after the game and you're like, what are you guys complaining about? The dude had, I think he had like 400 yards of total offense. So was sick, had some insane runs. Actually, I thought did have some really smart throws. That back, kind of, you were talking about the lack of extension of the downfield game, once he gets outside the pocket. I thought it was funny. The one time he actually looked to do that was when he hit Likely on that back shoulder play, and that ended up being the touchdown, which, Likely, the cheat or the, both of these teams kind of remolded their offense over the past 12 months. Like the Ravens, now all of a sudden it looks like it's going to be Likely and Zay Flowers kind of as the two main components in the pass game. And look, we're only played 1 game, so I don't want to overreact. Andrews will probably still have a lot to say in that offense, but he played 59 snaps in that game, only had 2 targets, so it's not even that he wasn't on the field or they were like slowly working him in. He was on the field a lot, and they actually went with a lot of 2 tight end sets with Likely and Andrews in there together, which I thought worked really well because Likely, that dude can move like a receiver, like a no-kidding receiver. Yeah, he does. And it's not, I'm not sitting here saying he's better than Kyle Pitts, but because I still think we have yet to see Pitts play an NFL game with a real quarterback. But I like Likely a little bit. Sorry, Desmond Ridder. My bad.
He got to the playoff, man. He took Cincinnati to the playoff.
Oh, yeah. I thought you meant Falcons. I was like, did they? No. It's like, I know the NFC South's been bad recently, but God, that would have been something. I just remember him in the Toy Story game throwing one of the worst pick sixes I think I've ever seen in my life.
I don't know. But Shador last night gave him a run for his money, throwing the ball in his own end zone, throwing a pick six was pretty tough.
Yeah, no, that's always hard. That's not good. That's usually not a good place to be. But yeah, so Ravens reshaping of their offense. I thought Henry, he looked good on that first drive. After that was kind of nullified, kind of for the rest of the game. But yeah, so I still think they're working through some things in that Ravens offense. Lamar, 15 pass attempts behind the line of scrimmage, I thought was the weird thing, though. Like 15 of his 41 pass attempts behind the line. I just want to see him. I felt like one of the best assets of him passing, like the pass was behind the line of scrimmage.
Only like 15 of them?
15 of his 41 were thrown behind the line of scrimmage. I just feel like that's
throws like completed behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. I just feel like that's
I'm pretty sure they threw them all from behind.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, no, Lamar was behind the line every time. Don't worry. I'm talking about the intended receiver.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I just felt like that was a high amount. I know when you looked at me like that, I was like, "What is that? Is that not high? Am I not?" Yeah, yeah. Well, not. We got it ironed out. We're still in early. We're still week one NFL for us too.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
we still got to get the reps up. Still got to get the reps up. But yeah, Ravens offense working through it. I still think they're going to be fine. Chiefs, we know we're going to be fine.
Yeah, I mean, they're both going to be fine. I mean, when it comes down to the AFC, probably thinking those two teams and maybe like a Buffalo or something like that. I think a lot of people are thinking those are going to be kind of the heavy hitters come January time. But I just wanted to quickly touch on Packers-Eagles. Again, me and Chad, we wanted to start this podcast overall because we wanted to keep it real. So we're not going to sit here and pretend like we just watched every single snap of this game.
Yeah, I didn't.
I was at a game. Chad has a life, so we're not.
I was actually fishing. I was out fishing at Yorktown Pier.
So I'm not going to sit here and pretend that we watched every single play, but just looking at some of the stats, I know A.J. Brown had a pretty big game. Not as many catches. I think it was 5 for 120 with a touchdown. But Saquon, unfortunately, had a very, very big game.
3 touchdowns, yeah.
3 touchdowns, and I was one of those guys that was like, kind of overall, people were clowning the Giants because they had that Hard Knocks offseason thing, and they're like the way they botched the Saquon situation. I was like, I'm never going to fault a team for being swindled out of giving a running back a contract in the year 2024.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm still going to stand firm on that. Like Chad said, it's still week one, still one game. But I mean, damn, you can't deny those numbers. And then, I mean, I think the scarier part is that AJ Brown had a good game, Saquon had a good game. The two guys that they really really need to get off, and then they still only won by a score.
Yeah,
yeah. If that's more indicative of what the Packers are going to be, or the Eagles. I mean, I know Jalen Hurts had 2 picks, but I mean, it really is interesting to see that they didn't they extended the lead with 30 seconds left to 5, so it was a very very tight game, and then obviously Jordan Love goes down late, but it seems like the two guys they want to get off are getting off, and now they're still playing in a tight game, which is the NFL. There's not going to be a lot of blowouts, and it's still week one, so figuring some stuff out.
Is that a new phrase for you? Get off?
Yeah, people get off. You ever try to get somebody off? No Diddy, and it's like you just throw the ball. When you're playing, especially when you're playing basketball, I feel like is when you try and get someone off. It's like we're running 3 straight sets for the Chad high post ISO. It's like I'm just gonna get them off real quick.
Fair enough. Okay, I noticed you threw that in there a couple of times so far already. So I was like, it looks like either a concerted effort for you to do so, or maybe it's just part of your lingo that I'm not privy to.
I did tell Savannah yesterday that I wanted to add the word cats more into my vocab, like calling people cats. So if you hear me saying that one is actually a concerted effort. Like I'm actually they got this one cat on this team, blah blah blah. Like that's gonna be more. I'm trying to get that one in there. No Diddy.
Okay, nice. Well, we'll be looking out for that one. Did have a quick question about Hurts. It feels like kind of going into last season, he was probably thought of as the outstanding quarterback in the NFC.
Coming on
where
the
do you?
Super Bowl at that time.
Yeah, exactly, and had a hell of a year too. And had a really good Super Bowl too in that game against the Chiefs. So I think, but where do you feel he is now? Because I feel like there was a lot of negative momentum. Second half of the season, obviously they lose.
Lost 7 of 8 or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Lose the playoff game to Tampa, put up 9 points in the game. And then in this game, like you said, 3 turnovers for him, 2 interceptions. The first interception to McKinney was just, he just literally threw it up there and was like, "Hey, anybody feel like grabbing this?" So
isn't that what he does every play? I'm a Cowboys fan, so I'm allowed to be a hater, like a legitimate hater on anyone within the division. But
fair enough.
So my thing with Jalen Hurts is it's like I think that he can be a little bit more conservative, especially now that he has the weapons that he has. So I just think I'm not trying to turn him into like a handoff merchant or just like a check down merchant or anything like that. But it's like, dude, you have playmakers all around you. You got Devontae Smith, you got A.J. Brown, you got Saquon. We don't need to force things.
Goddard even.
They say we just don't need you to turn the ball over. And I'm not saying like it's like just check it down, throw it to them, and let them do whatever. Like obviously you can do some more extensive stuff, but I don't think it's a situation where like he has to be a guy that's constantly trying to play make, if that makes sense. Like we don't need you 5 seconds into a play to start rolling out right and throw a ball across your body to the middle of the field. It's like we can just eat that. Because we can pick up a 3rd and 5 at any time basically with all 4 of those guys we just mentioned. So. I mean, to say I'm not a fan is a little disingenuous because, like, every time the boys play against him, it's just I don't feel good about playing against him.
Right.
But I don't think he's at that top tier either. The quarterback position to me just kind of has a weird void, in my opinion, where it's like
kind of like that middle group or that second group.
You got a lot of good guys, but no one that there's only one guy where you're truly scared of. Like I remember when I was growing up, like everyone was truly scared of they didn't want to play Tom Brady, they didn't want to play Peyton Manning. Hell, I mean even Breeze got himself in that conversation at certain points. Rodgers, yeah, stuff like that. But it's like now it's like, I mean, yeah, Burrow's very good, but are you like horrified to play against him week to week? I don't know. Like Justin Herbert's really good. Are you terrified to play against him week to week? Probably not. Lamar. He's really good. Are you terrified to play against him in a playoff game? Probably not. Really, the only guy that you can really put in that conversation that's like, I just don't want to play against this guy, is Pat Mahomes. So I don't even know if it's a criticism of Jalen Hurts. It's just that it's become so much more complex and so much more difficult to be like a really, really, really high-level quarterback that he's just kind of in that tier of really good players that are you don't love playing against them, but you also aren't like, we can't beat Jalen Hurts like you are with Mahomes or going back those guys like Breeze or Brady or Manning.
I think that what you're, and that's a great point that you hit on that I didn't even think about, but the reason for that is because it has a lot more to do with kind of the bottom tier of guys actually being a lot better, than what they were 10, 15 years ago. So now you're like, you talk about, are you scared to game plan against Lamar? I feel like a lot of defensive coordinators specifically are going to say, yeah, I'm scared to game plan against him. But at the same time, you're seeing a lot of other guys across the league who are, obviously they don't have the same speed, elusiveness. I mean, the Lamar spin move, I think, is one of the sickest moves in the whole NFL. But there are other guys who have speed, who can get outside the pocket, who can be dynamic. So you're seeing more of that. You're facing more of those reps. It's like when you play against a triple option offense one time a year versus, if there was ever a chance in this era of realignment where like they just made a triple option conference and all those teams just played against each other, where it'll be a little bit more normal. So, which I do think, I mean, look, of all the stupid marketing ideas for the conferences, hell, let's just have a triple option conference. I wouldn't be mad at it.
If you had to run like a certain defense, it's like, dude, you're playing the Big 12, you have to run a 3-4. Actually, it's actually you can't. If you see 3 defensive linemen on the field, we're throwing a flag. 4 guys with hands in the dirt, we're throwing a flag. That'd be awesome.
Absolutely.
Were there any other thoughts that you had on the games that have already been played? We're recording this at 11:20. On the Sunday, September 8th. So obviously all the games haven't started yet for today, but were there anything that you thought Chiefs, Ravens, or Eagles, Packers that you wanted to throw in before we move on?
No, I mean, I do think we should just hit on for a quick second. Jordan Love, injured, sprained MCL. Looks like they said it's 4 to 6 weeks. I'll be interested to see it. They're going to have to make a move just because, I mean, the only other quarterback they have on their roster is Malik Willis right now, who did come in to threw one pass attempt and then got sacked on the final play of the game, unfortunately. But I do think there could be a Ryan Tannehill sighting for them. He's probably the one guy who's a free agent who has legitimate high-level starter experience. I think this Packers team is a team that wants to make the playoffs. They know that they're good, and they don't want to just, be like, hey, let's, see what happens over these next 4 to 6 weeks. I think they want to be in more of a known commodity situation. So I would look out for them possibly signing Tannehill to a 1-year deal to be their starter for a couple weeks.
I just wanted to clarify something really quickly.
Okay.
So Malik Willis,
I know.
I'm kind of confused on your kind of hesitation with him because he has 3 career starts, and in those 3 starts, he's thrown for under 300 yards. 3 picks and lost 3 fumbles. So I'm kind of confused on why you're not like higher on him.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know why either. I just got a sneaky suspicion that he's probably not going to be the answer to their problems at the quarterback position over this next month or so.
Which people like Malik Willis honestly kind of make me sad because there's a lot of guys that the group of 5 guys. We were kind of talking about this just before we started recording. Like the group of 5 guys, they can go. And for those of you that don't know what I mean by that, like you have their Power 4 conferences now because the Pac-12 doesn't exist.
RIP.
Yeah, but you have your Power 4 conferences, which is like your ACC, SEC, Big 10, and
Big 12.
Big 12. Yeah, God.
Yeah.
And Big 12, who had a horrid night last night, Big 12, but that's neither here nor there. You have those, and then you have like your other conferences just below, which are still Division I college football, but they're not seen as the big heavy hitters. And guys like Malik Willis kind of get that buzz coming out. I mean, there were guys that were talking Malik Willis, could win the Heisman his senior year and go high in the draft and things like that at Liberty. And then he comes in and just stinks up the NFL, and it kind of ruins it for other guys, even guys like Desmond Ridder. It's like, yeah, well, we tried that a couple years ago with a Cincinnati quarterback, so those guys can't work. Or we tried that with a Liberty quarterback, and those guys can't work. So I always want to see those group of 5 guys at least, be competent, because then you never know when you find that diamond in the rough guy where it's like, you have a quarterback starting for your team that, let's just say he went to some random school like, I don't know, Eastern Illinois, and then he ends up being your starting quarterback for 10 years, something like that. So I always like to see those group of 5 guys, or even, FCS guys or whatever, do well. So
Yeah,
I was honestly kind of upset with Malik Willis, which is why I kind of give him so much crap.
That's all good. You hated so much because you loved him at one point.
Exactly.
So,
I mean, we went to school in Virginia, so I had to show him some love. So now we are going to be moving on to a topic that I thought would be pretty interesting. And now that I'm thinking about it, we kind of never really came to a definitive answer before we started recording. But I think we're going to do, what's our thing when we make a list or a draft? I think we're going to go Mount Rushmore. Okay? So we're going to go with 4 guys.
Worked out well for America. Might as well be good enough for us.
Exactly. So we're going to do 4 things, okay, with this upcoming NFL season that are going to be surprises and disappointments. So this is going to be basically the
4 storylines.
Yeah,
4
the 4 storylines are just 4 surprises, either positive or negative.
Yeah.
Our 4 surprises for this upcoming NFL season. Me and Chad are going to go back and forth. This could be anything, a player, or a coach, a GM, a team, a division, anything that we think is going to surprise us either in a positive way or a negative way. You want to go first or second?
I'll show my humbleness. I'll go second.
All right, first team all humble. Let's see. My number 1 surprise. I am going to go with, since this is the biggest name on here, I guess I'll go this. I think disappointment.
Wow.
I think I'm going to go with Travis Kelce for this upcoming season.
That first game scared you that much?
It did, because the only reason that it really did, again, you don't want to overreact to week 1, but it was the lack of trying to get him involved that kind of scared me a little bit.
I think he only had 4 targets, in the whole game.
Yeah, and I think they only had 1 or 2 catches.
Three catches for 34 yards.
Yeah.
So.
And it was like kind of what I was referencing with Zay Flowers, where it's like, they're just running all right, we just got to get the ball in Zay Flowers' hand to play. Like it seems they always have 1 or 2 or 3 of those plays a half, where it's like, you know what, we're just going to run the Travis Kelce play where he's just going to run upfield, find a space, and we're just going to throw him the ball. And they didn't really seem to have that. Again, this isn't even a criticism of him. He might be getting older. He might be moving into the latter part of his career. I mean, he's either turning 36 or is 36. So, I mean, he's not going to be able to play forever, especially be at the level that he's been at forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so, for me, it's kind of nerve-wracking because it's like, it's just seeing those great players go on to be like, role guys, just like the tight end is just, it's a surprise, because last year we still saw it, in the playoffs, that this guy is still, on third down, he's still going to be the look, he's still going to be the this, the that, and now it's like maybe he's not that anymore, maybe he's doing like the LeBron thing that he started doing like at the end of Cleveland,
Pacing.
where he was just like, you know what, I'm not going to try for the first 65 games. If we really need some wins at the end of the season to get us a higher seed for the playoffs, I'll go hard then. But until then, I'll just coast until the playoffs. So we might be seeing that, but I think it's more indicative of stuff to come with Kelce that, you know, he's not even involved on week one when they've been preparing for this game for months and months now, that they didn't find more ways to get him the ball against the team, which I thought was pretty vulnerable defensively at times.
Especially in the middle of the field. I felt like Baltimore was available. There were yards available in the middle of the field, I felt like. And that's where I think Rashee Rice, kind of the overlap there, they still have to kind of figure out exactly what that is, what that combination is going to look like. But I think you hit the nail on the head with Kelce. Is he's in that December to February is really his season. You know, that's the period of time that they want him for. You mentioned the age. He is turning 35 on October the 5th. So, you know, definitely an older guy at a position where, you know, as a tight end with the style that he plays, you're going to be taking hits because you're going to be catching passes. He's been catching, you know, passes over the middle of the field for a decade and has caught a lot of them, right? So he's going to, you know, take that beating. Did slow down a little bit last year. It was his first year under 1,000 yards in 7 seasons, so finished on 984. Granted, did only play in 15 games last season, so I guess that could, you know, be part of why. But I kind of agree with you. You know, I think it's, you know, when you talk about do they even need him, you know, the Chiefs didn't even have Hollywood Brown yesterday, or not yesterday, but on Thursday night. And I'm not sitting here saying Hollywood Brown's awesome because, I mean, hell, there's a reason 2 teams have already given up on him. But he can be another guy who can get thrown in the mix, you know, and all of a sudden take away, you know, just another percentage of targets. And then before you know it, like you said, Kelce is really only asked to make 1 or 2 plays a game maybe throughout the regular season. And then as we get later on, that's where he kind of starts to shine, really starts grinding out, turning up the yards. Because he's still, I mean, I think did he set the NFL record last year for catches in a playoff run? I think he did.
I think so. That sounds
so. Yeah, like 32 catches, 355 yards, 3 touchdowns in the 4 playoff games. So still able to get to that level when he needs to get there. But like you said, is the consistency going to be there? That's a good question.
Especially for fantasy owners that as the first tight end in the league in like the 3rd round for some reason.
Yeah, I gotta say, I had one league where, I felt like for fantasy for a while, I felt like the tight end position, actually a lot like real NFL, the tight end position is kind of the differentiator, you know, between can you have a good team or can you be actually an awesome team? Because usually those points are like, God, if I can get 8 points out of that guy, cool. But all of a sudden you're looking at, you know, Travis Kelce, Andrews over the past couple years where they're like high-level guys.
To do that.
Yeah, you know, his numbers just really don't add up. Mainly because, you know, it's like that distribution of targets thing that we were just talking about. But in the one keeper league that I'm in, I kept Andrews and Kelce both as tight ends, and I got to be honest, I didn't really love that. Yeah, I didn't love week 1. So let's hope that something will shake. But you know, it is what it is. I'm gonna go ahead and talk about my. It's funny. I don't know how you broke it down, but I kind of did like one player, one coach, one team, one division. It's kind of how I broke it down. Just kind of wanted to make sure I hit on all those. And I'm going with a pass catcher as well for mine. I'm actually going with a pass catcher that switched teams this year, and that is Stephon Diggs for the Houston Texans. I think is going to have a down year. And a lot of it's a combination of factors. One, you know, when he got traded, it's just so funny how positive people are, right? He gets traded and it's like, oh man, he'll be invigorated, he'll feel, you know, he'll be juiced up, all this other stuff, and then it's like, oh man, and he ripped up the last 2 years of his deal, so now he's going to be extra motivated, you know, and I'm like, I don't want Stephon Diggs in the last year of a deal because he is. Like, the receiver position is a different level of bitching about not getting the ball. But I think Stephon Diggs is in a tier above, in a tier of his own when it comes to receivers who just complain the most about not getting targets. So, and you saw that a whole lot at the end of last season, which I think is why Buffalo was perfectly fine with getting rid of him. That and along with some cap complications that they had. So, I don't know if I want Diggs in a contract year who's going to be focused on only getting his targets. Because I mean, look, if he
especially with a young quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. Really, a young offense all the way around. I mean, Nico Collins, Tank Dell, those guys aren't experienced necessarily. Like, really, the old head of their offense is Laramie Tunsil. So, anytime your veteran leader has a pick out there wearing a bong mask, like, I'm not going to sit there and say it's the most stable locker room. And I love Stroud. I think he's awesome, but Diggs has been a problem personality wise kind of everywhere he's been, and most of the time teams have been like, okay, we'll put up with it because you're putting up 8 catches and 100 yards on Sunday every single week. But that I don't think he's gonna yeah exactly. I think it's so weird. I think the AFC South is now turned into the division receivers go to die. Julio, when he went to Tennessee a few years back, that was the official end of his career. Yeah. DeAndre Hopkins, when he went to, I mean, it's funny because he was in the AFC South, left, and then came back. So, when he went to Tennessee last year, I felt like that was kind of the end for him as well. And then the Stephon Diggs thing. So, I mean, shoot, if we want to extend it out, we can even go to the quarterback position, or we can just talk about guys overall who die in the AFC South and throw Matt Ryan in there just so no team feels left out. But, yeah, I just don't think Diggs is going to have a good year. I don't think he's going to have a good year. And I think there's a real chance he's off the team by week 10.
That's interesting. But, okay, so going along with that, do you think that is a Dallas-type move where it's like the team looks at themselves and they're 5-4 and it's like, man, if we just had one more weapon like Stephon Diggs, then we'll take a chance on him, or like a team where it's like we have a young quarterback, he's getting killed back there and he kind of sucks. Let's get him another weapon, so something like that.
Yeah, well, I think the only chance that ends up happening is I don't think it's gonna even. I mean, I guess it could be a trade for like a conditional seventh rounder.
I mean, not anything like blockbuster or anything.
Yeah. Could it be for a conditional 7th rounder? Your favorite NFL trade, the equivalent of the protected second in the NBA. Possibly. I think, I mean, because it's a, it'll be similar to what happened when he went to Houston. It's you win the day with the trade. It's like, man, they got Stephon Diggs and he's motivated. He's pissed off. And then whoever the next team that gets him is, they're still going to run the same ESPN hits that they ran, this past time. It'll be like, man, it didn't work out for him, and this place, and now look at him, blah blah blah. I mean, kind of similar to OBJ when he went to the Rams, and I think OBJ when he went to the Rams was more talented than what Diggs is at right now. More so because of age than anything else, but it takes a couple of trips before before the people on, the national media are really like, okay, this guy's officially done. So, yeah, I could see it. A team who's underperforming is like, shit, let's just trade for him just because.
Yeah, it's always funny when media or whoever start to do the if game. It's like, man, if he could get back to his prime, if he could do, and it's like, if you start asking
if Ahmed scores 10 goals.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, if you start asking him more about if this guy could do this, if this guy can do that,
yeah,
that's when it gets difficult for me. I'm not a big if guy.
Fair enough.
Speaking of
like the known commodity.
Exactly. So I went Kelsey, Chad went Diggs. Let me go more positive. Okay, I think this one.
Heck yeah.
I think you're gonna laugh at this one, but
okay. I'm not.
I think I have some pretty sound logic. Okay, a positive surprise.
That's surprising from you. Sound logic and complimentary. It's a new look.
Bounce back year.
Okay.
In Cleveland.
Deshaun Watson.
For Deshaun. Okay.
Nice. I've been on the Deshaun bandwagon for like 4 years, so
yeah,
I'm with
Chad's
it.
Been riding for Deshaun for a while.
Almost afraid to say it, but
here's why. Okay, and I'm going to go against what I just said in about like 30 seconds ago.
Nice.
But, so they got, not crazy weapons, but, Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, and David Njoku, guys that consistently are decent enough pass catchers in the NFL that could be taken to another level if they have a good quarterback. Okay.
Yeah. And Njoku's a real threat at the tight end spot, no doubt about it.
Got Jameis breathing down his neck. Okay, so it's not like he's going to be free to turn the ball over as much as he like. If he had a guy, again, bring up who we brought up in before the show, like if he had C.J. Beathard as his backup, well, shit, I can go out there and throw 4 picks and fall.
I'll be fine.
And I'll be fine. It's like, no, I really got to lock in because Jameis is a legitimate NFL quarterback. So like I could be replaced at any time. The defense is also going to allow him to play a little bit more freely, though. So it's kind of balance out a little bit. It's like, I'm not free to make whatever mistakes I want, but I also don't have to be constrained into just being a check down, handoff, game manager type. I'm still going to be able to sling the thing because, if I turn the ball over at the 45-yard line, it's not just a guaranteed 7 points. So the coordinator or the head coach is going to try and make things easier for him. He's still going to be able to sling the thing around. And I think my most compelling piece of evidence is that they were able to win at the end of the year pretty consistently with 172-year-old Joe Flacco. So I think it's like they have a very, very similar team this year. So it's not like they made any crazy wholesale changes, and Flacco's corpse was able to win with them last year. So I don't think it's crazy to say that a Deshaun Watson, who's still around prime age, will be able to bounce back, be healthy, and be able to go back to the Deshaun Watson, maybe not that level that we saw in Houston, but at least a good level where I think a guy like Deshaun Watson, who I think is a really good quarterback, can go back and kind of be that guy again.
Yeah, whenever you talk about the quarterback position, having a good offensive line, I think is the number one thing. And Cleveland's going to have a really good offensive line. Conklin and Wyatt Teller anchoring that right side. Batonio still on the left, and then I think they're going to have a really good offensive line this year. You're going to get Nick Chubb back at some point this season. Probably, I think he's on PUP to start the year, so he'll be out at least the first 4. What does he look like when he does come back? That's obviously a question a lot of people have. But I think you hit on it with the weapons, man. He's going to have really good weapons. And he was 5-1 last year when he started for them last season. Did not necessarily look great in those 6 starts. I think, it's just been weird because for like his career's kind of been put on hold almost for like 3 years, maybe even 4, depending on, how you want to look at it. But now I think this is kind of the year, kind of like I don't quite agree with the Jameis being the, oh shit, I got to watch out. But I mean, he's a guy who started, who's competent. Like you said, it's not Beathard or, some 1AA quarterback that no one's ever heard of. Like when I saw when I saw it, was reading an article a couple of days ago that said Brandon Allen has won the backup job in San Francisco. I was like, that dude could walk up to me right now and tell me he's Brandon Allen, and I'd be like, sure, still don't know who you are.
Sell insurance.
Yeah, chill. But yeah, so Jameis has some real pedigree. He'll be able to push him at least somewhat. And then the defense is just insane. I mean, it's going to be. So he's not going to have to be great. Kind of like what you talked about with Jalen Hurts, right? Kind of in similar situations. Not going to have to be the savior. Just going to have to be the guy to spread it around, get everyone a fair amount of touches, and keep everybody happy. So we know when Deshaun's in charge of touches that's a dangerous place to be in. So let's hope he does better this time around. You went positive AFC North. I'm actually going to go positive AFC North as well. A coach who I think, and this is kind of a carryover from a guy who I think when he first got this job, people were like, who the fuck is this dude? And then he made the Super Bowl, and people were like, oh shit, this dude's pretty good. And then now it's like, but is he that good? And I think last year Zach Taylor proved that he is a really good NFL head coach. To go 4-3 and 7 starts with Jake Browning, not sitting here. I mean, Jake Browning, literally last season was in that category of the C.J. Beathard Brandon, and I hate to hammer C.J. Beathard because he actually did have a year as a
He's just
starter.
more representative. It's not anything against him personally.
Yeah, so if you're listening, C.J., we respect your game, your Iowa career specifically. Yeah, really. But Jake Browning was like in that category of like he's just a guy who happens to be the backup quarterback for an NFL team. Unless you're a hardcore college guy who followed him
Washington
at
legend.
Washington. Yeah, Washington, and then I think he was even somewhere before that, but I digress. And I just feel like Zach Taylor is one of those. The problem with Cincinnati is they always start the year off slow. Like every single year, I feel like we read a piece after 3 weeks saying, "Oh, no team has ever
made the playoffs after starting."
Yeah,
0 offensive touchdown.
Yeah. Hey, hold up, timeout. We got to call an audible. Real quick. Breaking news in. This is no shit. Breaking news in that I just want to spend 1 minute on. Dak Prescott, 4 years, $240 million extension. Give me your immediate thoughts, and then we'll get back to the topic. That will make him the highest paid player in NFL history.
Per year.
Yeah, probably. I would assume.
So, this is an official invitation now for anyone out there. If you need another fan or two for your team, you can send in your application. As a free agent now.
Uh-oh. This is the one that's pushing you over the edge?
Not truly. I mean, I expected it, to be honest, and it's I don't know, man. I don't hate it. I mean, after I saw the T-Law contract, it's like, I mean, shit.
Yeah.
If Trevor Lawrence is getting that contract, then like a guy who's been like an MVP candidate a couple times, and you can say what you want about Dak in the playoffs, and it's true, but I mean, he's consistently shown that he wins 10 games. He gets you to the playoffs. He's going to throw, 4,500 yards. He's going to throw, a decent amount of touchdowns. He's not going to turn the ball over a ton. I mean, when you got weapons like CeeDee Lamb and then, of course, the, two best backs in the league on your team, Zeke and Dalvin, you're just going to be able to
Absolutely.
To score points. I hate it, but, I mean, Not hate it as much as or it's just like it's going to destroy our franchise because you can't destroy something that's already, up in flames.
Yeah. Yeah, look, for me it's super simple. The quarterback contracts, they suck for 24 hours and then you give it 6 months and 3 other guys are going to reset that highest paid player ever record. And it's just a cycle that just keeps on going and going and going. That's why I remember I think when he signed that 4-year, $160 million deal 4 years ago or 3 years ago, I guess at this point, was like the first time where I was like, you know what? I hate it, but kind of exactly like what you said. Like, I hate it, but it's not really going to change a whole lot. And guess what? He's he's in one of those top 2 tiers, definitely not a first tier quarterback, but in one of those top 2 tiers. And when that guy is the guy who gets the next contract, he just becomes the highest paid guy at the position. Those are how the rules work. So it's going to look horrible for 6 months. Everyone's going to... I already know Stephen A, if we lose this Cleveland game week 1, Stephen A is going to be referencing the shit out of it. Oh, he's the highest paid, blah, blah, blah. How can he look like this and all that? And then 3 guys are going to get contract extensions in the next 12 months. That's going to make you forget that Dak is the highest paid guy or one of the highest paid guys besides the fact that he plays for the Cowboys. So
yeah, which just for the record... Who did he take over being the highest paid guy from? Trevor Lawrence and Jordan Love.
Yeah, exactly.
And bad. It's like, oh, well, the Dak contract's awful. It's like, okay, but the Trevor Lawrence contract was good, and the Jordan Love.
Yeah, no doubt, whatever you think, he is a better quarterback right now today than both of those guys, no doubt about it. So
yeah, exactly. So, yeah, and I like that going back. I like that Zach Taylor shout, and it's. I struggle with coaches a lot of times in the NFL and stuff like that because to me, coaches in the NFL are kind of like U.S. presidents. Where it's like,
figurehead more than anything.
Well, it's just like some stuff just happens. Like Andy Reid got shit for a decade plus.
Yeah,
because it's like he never went to the playoffs. He can't do this. He can't do that. He's not that guy. He's not that good of a coach. And now all of a sudden he has 3 Super Bowls. It's like, well, what the hell? Like sometimes you just get Patrick Mahomes on your team. Like,
that's fair. Yeah, coaching's a lot easier when you have one of those elite guys.
That's what I mean. I mean,
or you look better as a coach, I guess.
That's like what happens around you as you're the head coach. Obviously, you can take a team that probably should win 6 games and get them to win 8 or 9. You know, a guy like Mike Tomlin, like how he's managed to have a winning record all those years, of course, is impressive, and of course, he's a good head coach. But for the most part, you just need someone that's not going to screw it up. Okay, you already have a lot of times that when you're successful, you already have the talent, you already have other people around you that are good coordinators and things like that. Obviously, you need a good offensive quality control coach. So you have all those things around you. All you need to do is make sure that you don't mess it up. You're getting the ball to your playmakers. You're making sure that your defense in a position to make plays, and then you kind of just go from there. Now, there's only 1 or 2 times a year where it's going to be like, what did you call on 3rd and 6 with 1 minute and 46 seconds left? Did you manage the clock right? Even though I don't know, I forgot the point where they snap the ball and get to the line and get everyone aligned. I forgot about that part. But, all those things, like 90% of the job for NFL head coach is just like make sure the ship is right.
Exactly.
The Jake Browning example, it's like put him in a position where he doesn't have to he doesn't have to throw a 45-yard post on 3rd and 17. That's all we need to make sure that we do.
And you just brought up a great point because their offense changed so much when he took over. It was all turned into short passing game, stuff that he was comfortable with. Last point real quickly on them. I said they always start out slow. This year, first 4, home for New England, at KC, home for Washington, at Carolina. So, if they don't start 3-1, then, they should start 3-1. Just point blank period. So that should be
it's all because Bryce Young, his stock's
Heck yeah. That'll be right around the time where we probably have our next look at it. So that's the time for him to start adding to his stock for sure. Let's move on to the next one. I'm just going to do a quick hitter for this one because I know I've rambled a bit and we got some other stuff we want to get to too. A team, I'm going AFC heavy for some reason. I didn't intend to do it. A team that I think is going to be better than probably the public. The Buffalo Bills.
Okay, so I'm not going to bring them up now, but I actually had them in my disappointments.
Shout out Tyson Cullen.
Because I thought, I was really looking at their depth chart because I really like the Bills because I really like Josh Allen. Like,
yes, you do. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that you said negative.
But like that was the guy when he was coming out in the draft that I was like literally all in on. I was like, this Josh Allen dude can freaking play. Even those first few years in the league where everyone was like, oh, he just turns the ball over. All he has is a big arm. He's this, that, and the other. I always really loved Josh Allen. And I was really
confirm.
I was like, they don't really have many weapons outside of Josh Allen himself and then the tight ends. Obviously, when you got 2 big ass white tight ends, they're always able to at least give you stuff on 3rd down, short yardage situations, stuff like that. Yeah. Both of them have shown to be consistent pass catchers and at least decent playmakers. But I didn't like their other weapons. I thought they're now weirdly always in that class with the Chiefs, where it's like, well, we know that these 2 teams are going to be good. Like just kind of without even looking at the roster. Not saying that, the experts don't, but a lot of people are just like, well, we know the Chiefs are going to be good and we know the Bills are going to be good every single year. They're kind of in that class now. And then, obviously, I think the thing that hurts them the most is that Shane Buechele's on IR. So I don't know what they're going to do if they really get down to it and they need to put in another guy, under center. No, but seriously.
Wait. They got Trubisky. What are you talking about?
I mean, shit, that quarterback room. I can't even imagine what goes on in there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I didn't like their offensive weapons. Their defense, kind of speaks for itself. But I really didn't like, I just don't like their options, to be honest, as weapons. I think Josh Allen's going to be asked to do a lot. And, again, as much as I love him, when he's asked to, just do stuff, that sometimes just includes him throwing a 60-yard go ball right to the other team.
I think McDermott has actually become underrated as a coach. I think he, like, the number one thing that I think any coach can bring to an organization, and it was the thing that Belichick had above everybody else, is mental toughness. Like, I think mental toughness is the number one thing you can have in the NFL. It shows up so many times, whether it's, not being lazy and not getting a stupid penalty, or something like that, or it's, having the mental toughness to keep fighting through, injury or adversity and keep sticking with the game plan and then, before you know it, the second half, those runs that were going for 2 yards are now going for 12, or this is opened up or whatever. But it's a wide, all-encompassing kind of aspect of the game. But I think McDermott he adds to the mental toughness of Buffalo. And I think they straight up just kind of said they made a decision, and they didn't announce it, but they kind of made a decision saying, all right, whatever guys aren't mentally tough, like, goodbye. Like, we're just going to get rid of you. Stephon Diggs, I don't think you have that mental toughness that it takes to be a true difference maker combined with the age that he's at. You talked about how they're going to probably look a lot different offensively with more of the 2 tight end sets. I'm letting you know right now, Kincaid, I'm buying all Kincaid stock. Like, I think
I like him. I like him a lot.
Kincaid is really good. I mean, I think we could be hitting a golden age of tight ends, honestly, with the combination of, Likely, coming up, Kincaid coming up. I think Brock Bowers is going to be dominant. I think, if Pitts, I keep using the if with him, but if Pitts, turns it around, becomes something. Njoku, like, all these guys are on the younger side. Njoku a bit older, but the other guys all really young and promising. So this could be a golden age for tight ends. But back to the Bills, this is a team that just straight up takes the football away. Like, honestly, they've been top 4 in takeaways each of the last 4 years under McDermott. Every year under McDermott, they've been top 4 in turnovers. Usually I think of that as a red flag if it's just like a 1-year type of thing. But clearly there are some points of emphasis that they hit on where it's like they taking away the football is like, and I just hate that phrase is so funny, taking away the football, because it's such coach speak. But I think it's
football coach speak has got to be my favorite of all.
Yeah, I know, and I just did it, so
I was telling Savannah during the Texas game yesterday. I said I need to see white hats around the football.
Exactly. So I think the Bills will be better because I think they'll still be able to maintain that turnover differential, and they have one of the best front fours in the NFL. So their back 7 shaky, but that front 4 is huge. They can get interior and outside pressure.
Yeah. I'm definitely not going to go against you. I was just a little bit worried about the weapons for Josh Allen, and sometimes they can get a little bit too forcey. There are some times where it gets...
Yeah, Keon Coleman's going to have to be big for him this year.
Correct. And that dude, I forgot what he did in the preseason. He said one of the dumbest things in some interview, and I was while he was signing his contract, and I was just like, yeah, I'm out on him.
I'm a red flag for him because he thought he was in a tier 4 of being able to name random NBA players. But then I saw a video of him naming guys, and the people he thought were randoms. I was like, nah, you're in tier 2, buddy.
All-star team.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you can't be naming guys who made all NBA as random NBA guys.
Yeah. So but I like the Bills. I like Josh Allen, so I don't hate that. I'm gonna go with another positive surprise. All right.
Okay. Let me know.
This is a guy where it's when I say it, it's gonna be how is that guy gonna be a surprise? I'm gonna say C.J. Stroud because I think this is the year that he establishes himself. I am a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Wow.
I was really impressed with him last year, and I think.
Who's he kicking out? Just out of curiosity. I hate to put you on the spot, but who's he kicking out?
Got Allen, got Lamar, got I'd probably say Burrow.
Yep.
And then
well, whoever the next guy you're going to name is probably who he's going to kick out.
C.J. Stroud to me.
Yeah, I got you.
I was beyond impressed every single week I watched him last year, and
100%.
especially because in that context it was for a rookie. For a rookie he has such great poise. For a rookie he makes such great plays and decisions, and for a rookie he can do all this stuff. And now it's when you look back at it, he was honestly just good. He wasn't good for a rookie. He was just legitimately good, and
it's like that
on one hand.
It's like that.
Go on.
Conversation we had a couple weeks ago about the Premier League youngster, or the a good youngster is an average player, and it's no, this dude was a legitimate top 8 quarterback for any age group.
It was like Lamine Yamal now. It's at what point does he transition from being a good young player to just being oh, this dude's just straight up good?
He's there.
But for C.J. Stroud, I'm just especially because he has weapons. He has guys that can play make with him and for him, and so it's I think. He has definitely an easier path. Guys like Bryce Young, somewhat screwed by their team, but also, aren't elevating them to a certain extent.
Yeah.
But I think C.J. Stroud has that perfect combination of he's already good, he's already a very mature decision maker. Clearly, his teammates really like him, which I think is a pretty underrated thing, especially at the quarterback position.
100%.
You got 5 guys killing themselves every play, trying to make sure that you don't get touched, and they're going to work a hell of a lot harder if they actually like you and know that you're going to make plays.
Yep.
So I think C.J. Stroud, I think this is the year where, even though it's only year 2 for him, I think he's just going to take that next step. And it's like, by this time next year, it's going to be like, well, they have C.J. Stroud, so they will be good. When you start getting that conversation, that's when I think you're really at that next level where it's like you're not even a good player. You're like one of those guys that just makes your team good just because you're on it. I think that's C.J. Stroud for this year.
I agree with that. I'm a huge Stroud guy. Had him over Bryce Young going into the draft, so I'll toot my own horn a little bit. But I completely agree with you, man. I think Stroud is in for another huge season. I know I talked about worrying about the Stephon Diggs thing, but I don't think that'll really affect Stroud because, like you hit on the major point. The thing that makes him, besides just his play, the thing that I think can help take him to that next level is everybody just loves that dude. Like everybody, no one is saying anything bad about C.J. Stroud at all. So, and I think it's more than just because everyone knows he is the franchise. So, yeah, absolutely.
So you went 2 in a row. I'm going to go 2 in a row too.
Yeah.
So my last disappointment for this upcoming year.
Hate to end on a downer, but it's needed.
I'm going coach as well.
Oh.
I'm going Harbaugh. And I think the main reason.
Which one?
Oh no,
they're both in the NFL.
Yeah, the new Harbaugh.
Ooh, a little Jim action.
I think Jim because I think the main reason why is because the team he took over is at odds with what he likes to do. He is a smash mouth, run the ball between the tackles, milk the clock, play defense, like get the lead and then keep it type of coach. And his best player is the quarterback. And I just think that is very much at odds. Again, a lot of this stuff depends on your coordinators and what you guys do during the week and all this other stuff. But I think that his style that he had it's not like he had Kaepernick, throwing 70 times or 60 times a game or stuff like that when he made it to that Super Bowl. And I think he likes to run the ball. He showed it at Michigan. That's what he wants to do. He wants to control the game. He wants to run the ball. He wants to have 12-play drives where they score, things like that. And with Herbert, you have to constantly have him with the ball. He just has to have the ball in his hands. He needs to be throwing it 40 times a game, that kind of thing, because he's that good. And because, honestly, it's not like they have, LaDainian Tomlinson in their backfield or anything like that. So I just think that the way he likes to play is completely at odds with what their team is or at least needs to be. And I could see this not quite being an Urban Meyer situation, but like it's a situation where it's like he's just not right for this. Clearly, he's already shown he can coach the NFL. I just think for this franchise
100%.
At this time with this personnel, I don't think that style is really going to fit. But also, now I think about it, it could be exactly what they need because it could be that, the past couple of years it's just been like, hey, Herbert, go do your thing, go win us the game. And obviously they haven't. But it could be, a little change of style, change of pace. Maybe the more they run the ball, if they run the ball more effectively, could get easier stuff in play action. But just looking at it on the surface, I just don't like the way that Harbaugh's style and their team kind of mix right now.
Yeah, I think it's I don't know. I kind of agree more with the second part of the point you were saying where, well, I agree Harbaugh's going to completely change their offense and the style that they have. But I see that to me as a positive for Herbert, right? I think the last couple years especially, like you said, where they were just like, all right, just go out there. We'll put 4 receivers out there. Just find one, whatever. I think there's going to be a lot more reining in. And it's not like reining in like he's been doing wild, erratic stuff, but just like reining in the sense that more controlled, right? More third down throws. Like you said, more deep play action, max protect with only 2 guys being sent out. Stuff like that. The problem is they're in this transitional phase, which you did hit on perfectly, where it's like they don't have the weapons necessarily anymore of like a flashy offense, and they had like Keenan Allen, Mike Williams last year, Eckler, all that. Somehow all three of those guys are gone. But then they also don't fully have the offensive line that we talked about with like a Cleveland or something where it's super quarterback friendly. I think they have pieces. Slater's a good left tackle. I love Joe Alt, the guy they drafted out of Notre Dame. So the tackle spots they've got bookended. They spent big money on Brian, is it Brian Bosman? No, that can't be right. Bradley Bosman, the center. So he's starting to maneuver, or he's starting to build that offensive line the way he wants. But then you look at the backs. I mean, we're talking about a couple of washed-up Ravens guys, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Like,
dude,
I don't think
that backfield, that was my that was like the red flag, man. That might be worse than our damn backfield in Dallas.
Exactly, and that's a very low bar that somehow they still didn't even clear. And then you look at their skill position guys. I mean, Josh Palmer, Ladd McConkey, and Jerry Rice's son are the starting receivers right now that I'm looking at. Like, he doesn't even have a name. It's just Jerry Rice's son. That's his name on PFF. So I I agree with you. I think that there will be some teething. There will be a teething period in LA. But I think maybe towards the back half of the season, like that to me is a team that I could see making a second half sprint. Maybe going to the next season with some
early in the year, and then they win 4 of their last 5, and even if they don't make the playoffs, it's like okay, we at least have our system down.
Have some momentum going into the year after all that time, all that stuff. So I think we're seeing eye to eye on the Chargers. I'm just looking at it slightly more optimistically.
Glass half full, glass half empty.
Yeah, exactly. We saw it with United. Last one we're going to hit on, I think, and then we've got a fun game I'm looking forward to. I think a division that's going to be better, the AFC South. I think you hit on, we're in agreement on Houston. I think Houston's going to be really, really good. And I think Jacksonville's going to have a bounce back year. We talked about it last week when we were doing the QB stock game about Trevor Lawrence. I just think Jacksonville is going to be an improved team. Offensively, I still like Doug Peterson. I'm not sitting here saying that he's the best coach in NFL history, but I like Doug Peterson. And their defense, they still have some playmakers. I think Josh Allen, who now is Josh Allen Hines, which I would love to know like the conversation that went into the name change there. But him and then Trayvon Walker, who I'll fully admit he was a guy who I made fun of as a draft pick. He's been all right for them. Hasn't been, obviously what you would want out of a number 1 overall pick, but he's been good. So if you start with that foundation of 2 edge rushers, and then, you brought in Eric Armstead, the defensive tackle, you have a good defensive front. And whenever you have a good defensive front, I think you're going to have a chance. So good defensive front, a good quarterback. And this is one of the rare teams that I think actually does have some playmakers, right? Christian Kirk, I thought was fantastic for about a 6 to 8 week stretch last year. Brian Thomas Jr., people have been raving about him out of camp. So, that and I know that's a horrible game to play as they've been talking about this guy in camp because everyone's going to the Hall of Fame after camp. But with him, you were at least able to see some catches in the preseason, which, is by no means a good measuring stick either, but where it's like, okay, I can see where this would make sense in the modern NFL. So I like that. I think those are going to be 2 really good teams. And then I think Indy even is going to be pretty good. Like I'm nervous about what Richardson truly is going to be, especially with what's really his rookie year, because he was knocked out after, I think he played 4 halves last season. Somehow didn't finish a single game that he started. But I think I like their weapons a lot too, like Pittman, your boy A.D. Mitchell, who kind of also falls into that. I just said it because he's a Texas guy.
Texas boys already making plays, man. Xavier Worthy.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I think Indy kind of averages 1 receiver a year who it's like they took this guy late and it's like, man, this guy's actually been killing it in camp. Because they had Alec Pierce last year and then Ashton Doolin actually even a couple years before that who's still on the team. But I think they're going to be at least competitive, like very competitive. And then Tennessee, Look, Tennessee isn't going to be good, but I actually think that there's still going to be some mental toughness carryover from the Vrabel regime. And could they win 5, 6 games? If that's your worst team in the division, I don't think that's horrible.
True.
So
Yeah.
that's
a good show. I like the
that's
AFC
where I'm
South.
at with it.
Obviously.
After years of being the punching bag division of the NFL, I think now they're back. I think they'll send at least 2 teams to the playoffs this year.
Yeah, and that's probably a better reflection of division quality. Is like how many teams are you able to send multiple teams to the playoffs? So yeah. So me and Chad going through, I had 2 disappointments. I had Travis Kelce and Jim Harbaugh for this year, and then I had 2 surprises, positive surprises in Deshaun and C.J. Stroud. Chad actually only had 1 negative, which would be Stephon Diggs, and then 3 positive surprises in Zach Taylor, the Bills, in the AFC South.
I gotta say, we just love the AFC. All 8 of those were AFC shouts. I didn't even realize.
AFC's just kind of boring at this point.
It is. It is.
I'm tired of talking about it or thinking about it.
Fair enough.
So, going into our last thing that we're going to do today, it is something that I've seen on TikTok and on other things, but it's something that I wanted to try with Chad. And, maybe we can flip the script and he can quiz me a little bit, in the future. But I kind of wanted to see what you guys thought of it. And if, I think it could be definitely a lot of fun. And that is a game called Tenable. All right, if you don't know what that is, it's basically I give Chad a category. He would name me the 10 things that fit into that category. And we're going to do 3 strikes per question. And what I thought I'd do, is that we'd do 3 minutes of just straight up, just guessing, doing whatever, thinking about it. And then after that 3 minutes is up, then we could do 2 minutes where I can, add a little hints in, something like that. Things where I'm like guiding him in the right direction if, he's not getting it. So we're not just sitting here for 2 or 3 extra minutes just being like, I don't want to get a strike, but I also don't really want to just sit here and think about it. So, 3 minutes of just straight up.
And that eternal question on the SAT where it's like, do I answer this one if I'm not 100% sure?
Exactly.
So,
and then 2 minutes of more of a guided.
We're getting it in 3. I'm getting it in 3 minutes. Come on, we won't even need those extra 2.
I love that.
Heck yeah.
So our first one. So I have a question for basketball, for soccer, and for football. All right. The football question is college football, though, I will say. So I'm gonna do a little bit of everything. All right. So number 1. You guys will have to excuse me. My computer is doing backflips right now for some reason. The fan is going crazy on it. So if you can hear that, that's what that is. So for basketball, I was thinking, again, bigger lists, things that are maybe more well known. And I thought top 10 scores of the 2010s. But then I thought about it and I was like, you know what? Too easy. Too easy. Okay.
Damn.
Chad's a connoisseur. So,
okay, shit. That status might be up in the air.
Top 10 scorers? No. How about top 10 assisters of the NBA in the 2010s? Okay. So
shit.
I think this one actually surprised me. The order, especially the names were pretty. I was like, that makes sense.
No.
But I think you'll be able to get probably 6 or 7 of them pretty easy, and then might struggle for a little bit. All right, so let's get
this
going.
Is good. This is good.
3, 2, 1, go.
All right, Chris Paul.
Chris Paul, number 2.
LeBron,
number 4.
Rajon Rondo.
Rondo, number 3, actually.
Okay, off to a good start. It's crazy that I've only named 3 and I'm already in the category. Damian Lillard, would he be on there by any chance?
No. So that's our first strike.
Okay. Ah, shit. I actually kind of forgot about the strikes thing for a second. Oh, James Harden. Duh.
Number 6.
Wait, so I've got 2, 3, 4, and 6?
Mm-hmm.
God, number 1? In the 2010s. So this is starting in 2010, ending in 2019-20. Top assisters. Is there any way? No, never mind. That was smart of me not to use. One. Man. Mike Conley. Is there any chance that he's on there?
Mike Conley is not.
Damn.
Which honestly shocked me. It shocked me that 9 and 10 are in there and he's not.
Oh, okay. All right, I'm thinking of a couple guys. All right, Russell Westbrook has to be in there.
Yes.
Okay.
Westbrook, which also shocked the shit out of me.
Sorry. Well, this is because he has the ball in his hands every single second
Those
for like 3 straight
I kind of
years.
forgot about how many he was able to get. I mean, shoot, he probably got like a couple thousand in just
100%. No, honestly.
Span.
All right, so I've got 5.
Got 5. So
What's my time looking like?
you have almost exactly 3 more minutes. All right. So we
Okay.
have you're missing 5s and then 7 through 10
Okay. And I've used 2
strikes.
fudge. Okay. 2010s. The thing is thinking of the guys that were there kind of like the entire time.
That's what's difficult. It's like not thinking of guys that
Um,
too early or too late.
Of the 20s. I'm going to say Kyle Lowry.
Kyle Lowry, number 7.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to go Kemba.
Kemba Walker is our final strike.
Damn. All right. Well, I got more than 50%. I got more than 50%.
So Chad got 6. He got number 1, Russell Westbrook. Number 2, Chris Paul. Number 3, Rondo. Number 4, LeBron. Number 5. Come on, man. Your team.
John Wall.
John Wall. And James Harden. Kyle Lowry. Be shocked as shit you didn't get this one. Steph Curry.
I didn't think he. See, to me, I should have guessed him before Dame.
So it's hard because I agree with you. You wouldn't think of him as like a top assist guy.
Yeah. But he was there that whole time.
He was there the whole time. But then also when you see 9 and 10, it's like, yeah, no shit, Curry would have been in there. Number 9, Drew Holiday.
Wow.
Okay, well, if you're saying wow for that, you're definitely going to say wow for 10. So now I say that. What's your guess for 10? Like you're shocked a guy that was there in the 2010s, but you're just like, wow, that guy was number 10 in assists in the entire NBA.
I mean, is he a guard at
NBA
least?
NBA All-Star guard.
Ben Simmons?
On my face.
Ben Simmons?
Nope. A Hawk.
Oh, Teague?
Jeff Teague.
Oh, shit. No, Teague was the one starter I thought that did. Oh, no, he did make an all-star team. He did make the all-star
that
team.
year, the Hawks got like 4 all-stars.
4.
And one of them was like Damari Carroll or something like that.
No, Carroll was the one starter who didn't make it.
That's what
Carroll was the one who didn't.
It was Korver, Teague, Millsap,
and Horford.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, Teague? Teague 10th. Shout out to Jeff Teague, man. Good for him.
The guy on the left, his name is Teague. And he in no way, shape, or form wants those 4 guys to get out of the way so that West can get his hands on them. Shout out Jalen.
Yeah.
Shout out Jalen Rose for back in the day, man.
Damn, God. Look, this is obviously the entire name of this game, but you feel so stupid. I mean, the Wall one, obviously stupid. Although I gotta say,
stupid, honestly, because it's like... Because, I mean, we talked about him 2-3 weeks ago, and it was like... I mean, yeah, Wall had like that 3-year period where he was a legitimate either all-star or almost all-star, like right on the edge. But other than that, he was just like a good, decent NBA guard, especially for a team that wasn't doing well.
And also, I just would have thought because of how many games he missed, just because of all the knee injuries. But I mean, shit, when you put Drew and then Jeff Teague, I mean, those ones I don't feel bad about. You could have given me 40 guesses, I wouldn't have guessed Teague. So, Curry and John Wall, I'm a little mad at, but I had some logic.
Tiers of disappointment. It's like I'm really disappointed I didn't get Wall and Curry and then Holiday and Teague. It's like, well, shit.
Yeah, exactly. Play perfect defense and they hit a step back 3. It's like, sorry, couldn't do anything else.
So,
all right, that was a good warm up one. That was a good warm up though.
On that, now let's go over to soccer. All right,
this one. for anyone that really knows me, this one I'm more nervous of because my soccer knowledge really only extends out about the last 5 to 7 years.
Well,
7 is like pushing it.
That's gonna be
a
interesting
problem.
for this one then.
That's gonna be a problem.
Clubs
Okay.
with the most Champions League games won.
Okay.
I think
Okay. I
the
think I
European
can do.
Cup.
Yep.
All
Yep.
the way back to the 50s. All right.
I got
Those are
you.
The most Champions League games won. All right. 3,
Okay.
2, 1, go.
And this is top 10, right?
Top 10.
Okay. Bayern.
Number 2, yes.
All right. Barcelona.
Number 3, yes.
I'm gonna say AC Milan.
AC Milan 7, yes.
I would actually expected them higher. Liverpool.
Liverpool, yes. Number 6.
Real Madrid, of course. I just wanted to say a couple
No.
before. Yeah, okay.
They're 11th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Real Madrid, yes. Number 1.
Okay. So I'm what, halfway there?
Halfway there. Living on a prayer.
Yeah. I'm gonna go Manchester United.
Man United 4.
Okay. I'm just trying to think in my head. Like, there's probably gonna be a couple that I'm not thinking of.
Once you get this next one, the one that's
Yeah.
5, I'm
Yeah.
actually going to start shoving you in the right direction because it's not. Yeah.
Benfica.
Benfica 8.
That was one of the ones you thought you would have to push
Correct.
me in the right direction.
Correct.
I'm gonna go Ajax.
Ajax 10. Yep.
Juve.
Juve 5. So we have one more at 9. Just
And I've got
remember,
all
Ted
three.
does this without anything, and he didn't get the assisters. I'm like, my mind.
Yeah.
It already kind of is, but still.
God. And what place is this team in that I'm missing?
So they're
And because it's only one,
Benfica and
right?
Ajax.
Okay. Is it Arsenal?
God no.
Okay.
So that's our first strike.
Okay. Inter?
Inter is our second strike.
Damn.
These lot are 2-time winners of the competition. All right. They have won one this century, though.
They have.
They have won this century. They have won one.
Oh, okay. So that actually narrows it down significantly.
Yeah, because Real Madrid's won half of them this century. So
When you say this century, like you mean like post
Since the year
2000? Okay. And they've won it twice, and one of them has been this century.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, there's like 2 teams I'm thinking. Damn. I'm like, all right, I'm not gonna say an answer yet, but I'm just talking it out loud.
Poker
The two teams I'm between are Porto and Borussia Dortmund. But I don't feel like Dortmund would have a late push for it, which would make sense that they would be 9. I mean, both these teams would make sense that they're 9 because they're not like one of the top teams, historically, even though I guess this number kind of proves that they are. I know Porto's won it this century. Obviously, they won it under Jose. Dortmund, I know they've made it to multiple finals, but I feel like they've. F it. I'm gonna go Porto. Final answer. Damn.
Number 9, Porto.
Yeah.
Number 9, Porto. That was impressive, man. I'm not gonna lie. That was pretty impressive.
Yes.
That was a good one. 35 seconds to
Yes.
spare. The logic was there. Yeah, the Jose in 2004, man. He took him through. Which honestly, I think 2016 kind of gets remembered as like the year of the upset in modern history. You had like the LeBron comeback. You had France losing in the European Championship final. You had
Leicester winning the Prem,
all
wasn't
that
it?
stuff. But I think 2004 is kind of a similar year. You had
Pistons over Lakers.
Porto, Pistons, and Greece winning the Euros all in the same year. So
Wow.
like
Okay.
that's a pretty good big.
I'm not
three
mad
right
at
there
that.
for
Yeah.
improbable things.
That's a compelling case.
Yeah, so that was just something interesting because I was like, again, I was looking at this and I was like, man, like they did win the Porto did win it in 2004, and I was like, wait, Greece was 2004, and I was like, wait, Pistons were 2004 too. So yeah, interesting stuff. So very, very impressive from Chad.
Nice.
Now this last one, I'm intrigued to see how you'll do because I think if I would have asked you this question 10 years ago, I think you'd be able to do it in 10 seconds. But if I would have asked you to name the last 10 of these, I think you'd be able to do it in 10 seconds. But now, since you're a little bit removed and not following it as much, I'd be interested to see if you can still do this.
Oh, God.
And that is the last 10 Heisman Trophy winners. The last 10 Heisman Trophy winners. So just for reference, that's 2014 to 2023, which makes me feel old as shit.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, let's go. Number 10, or last one, 10 Heisman Trophy winners. Let's go.
All right. Jaden Daniels.
Yes, 2023.
Didn't Caleb Williams win it 2 years ago?
Caleb Williams, yeah.
Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow somehow.
I'll just name every LSU.
Playing that year, so I don't.
I'll just name every LSU quarterback, and we'll be wrapped up in a minute.
Matt Flynn.
Chill. So I've got 3. Mariota.
Mariota, yeah.
Okay. Was he 2014 or 2015?
I don't know, man.
Okay. Fair enough.
I always forget that he won it.
Yeah. I mean, that Oregon team was good.
He comes
that
across
Oregon team
one of
was
those
really
guys
good.
like Andrew Luck, where he was always like there, but not quite that guy.
Yeah. All right. So I have 4.
4, yes.
Oh, Bryce Young. Bryce Young.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm halfway. There. God, I know Deshaun Watson did not win one, so I'm not going to even say his name. Heisman Trophy winners. God, I really am exposing myself because I don't know anything.
This is difficult because I feel like honestly the Heisman has become a little bit less talked about in recent years. It's more about teams and getting to the playoff rather than like who's having that Heisman season or who had that Heisman moment.
Exactly. Since 2014.
So this is going to be a decent hint. That should help you get 2 of them at least. So we have 3 quarterbacks,
Yep.
a running back, and a receiver.
A receiver. Oh, Devontae Smith won the Heisman that year?
Devontae Smith.
God, I was no lie. I was having an internal debate like, did he actually win it? Because in my mind, I was just thinking all quarterbacks.
Right.
So he won it at wideout, and a running back won the Heisman.
Mm-hmm.
Damn. Can we extend it out to 2024? Because I already know Shedeur Sanders is going to win it this year.
It was going to be between him and Just
Travis
the entire
Hunter.
offensive line. The Buffs.
So I need a running back and 3 quarterbacks.
One school went back to back in Heisman's.
Okay, so these are 2 different guys. Oh shit, Baker Mayfield and shit. Did Kyler Murray won the Heisman?
Yep.
Did he actually? That's hilarious. The running back is that Derrick Henry?
Yes, it was.
Okay, shit. Okay, now
This
one
is honestly
more.
the funniest one that you haven't gotten this one yet.
A quarterback?
Mm-hmm.
There's
What
no
kind
way
of?
it's another. You said kind of?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, God. Kind of a quarterback. Shit. Russell Shepard?
Blake Sims. 50 seconds.
A quarterback who won the Heisman, who I should be shocked that I didn't get it. Oh, shit. Lamar Jackson.
Lamar Jackson, yeah, exactly.
That was like the last year that I actually watched college football independent of just LSU.
Yeah, 2016. Yep.
Yeah.
Lamar Jackson. That was the year.
Okay.
That was his
God,
junior-
that was...
Was it? No, he was
No, that was his
sophomore.
freshman year. That was his freshman year. No, sophomore, yeah.
Yeah.
Because his
I think
freshman
he's
year,
the
he played like
youngest player
3
to ever win.
games. Really?
I'm pretty sure. It's either
Nah.
him or Jameis.
Yeah, but, Jameis took those crab legs, so did he really win it?
Well, just to wrap up, give a fun little thing. Who is your favorite Heisman Trophy winner?
Just ever?
I mean, yeah.
Like favorite, just as in like...
Like, you think Heisman Trophy, you're just like this guy. Yeah,
I mean,
Lamar Jackson was 19 years and 338 days old. 4 years,
Honestly...
4 days younger
Oh,
than
good.
Jameis.
Fair. Honestly, when I just think of the Heisman Trophy, for whatever reason, I just think of Tebow. Like, I don't know why, but he just...
I think
And the funny thing-
I've been voting like 3 years.
Yeah.
He obviously won it once.
The funny thing about it is the one year he won it was like kind of the one year where Florida wasn't even that good. They were like a
Lost
9
3
and
games that year. So
yeah, they were like a 9-3, 9-4 team. I think with the bowl game that year. I think they played in the Gator Bowl, maybe the Outback Bowl, something like that. And he won it. So that's kind of funny. That's kind of like the Jaden Daniels Heisman, where it was like, hey, your team wasn't that great, but you put up numbers, so here it is. And we don't have anyone else to really win the award.
yeah.
So, what about you? Who's your like? When I say Heisman Trophy, who's like the image that comes to your mind?
Well, obviously,
It has to be a guy that actually won it, so you can't say a Texas quarterback. Sorry.
I was saying, my favorite Heisman Trophy winner is Vince Young because now I'm trying to pretend that, like, well, there are rules in 2024 that say that you can take money. So now that means in 2005, Reggie Bush didn't break the rules. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I get it now. But honestly, when I think Heisman Trophy, I just think Johnny Manziel because it's just like
Fair.
because
I think about him with other stuff. So
well, just because he is a guy that, like, for me, the Heisman Trophy is kind of indicative of, like, this guy kind of rose above what his team was, and it kind of became him. Like, even Tim Tebow, as good as those Florida teams were at times,
Yeah, they were
it was
still
like
awesome teams.
Tebow and the Gators.
yeah,
It wasn't like, I mean, Jameis, it kind of was like this Florida State team's good, and Jameis is their quarterback. Like you said, those Oregon teams were good, and it was like Marcus Mariota is good.
Yeah.
But, like, for me, it was just like, well, they have Johnny Manziel, and Texas A&M is also playing in this game. Like, that's kind of where it became, and that's kind of what the Heisman Trophy kind of screams to me, is that ability to just be like, you know what, I'm so elite that I just kind of go beyond what my team is.
looks like we're experiencing some technical difficulties right now.
Oh gosh, I think we're having technical difficulties here. Can't tell if it's me.
To be determined if we're able to get those fixed, but you guys, hope you're enjoying this freeze frame screen of Ethan. That's a good question. I don't know if I should be filling time right now or what. Oof. Man, you look at the... I gotta apologize on this episode. I didn't mean to wear such a wrinkly shirt. It's Sunday right now, so that means it's laundry day for me. So, I apologize for not putting on the best shirt. Sometimes I forget that this is like an audio and video thing. I'm so focused on making sure that my audio is good that I'm just like, let me just throw on a shirt or something. So now all of a sudden, I gotta say, going back to that NBA assist one, and I know I'm off on a monologue now, but going back to the NBA assist one, I just really can't believe that Jeff Teague is top 10 all time in assists. Not all time, but top 10 in assists in the 2010. So that was insane. That was a bit insane.
Am I here?
Yeah, you're here.
Jesus. Okay. I don't.
It's okay. It's okay. I've been filling time.
My mind.
Now, it looks like it says we're still recording, at least according to this. So, but I don't know what it looked like on your end. So, but yeah, that Jeff Teague thing was bullshit. I mean, him even getting an All-Star bid was kind of crazy that year. So, sorry, as you were away, I was kind of like rediscussing the inner monologue of how crazy the NBA assist one was. I just still can't get my mind off of Jeff Teague and Holiday. So those ones have had me shook for a good minute, and that might continue. Dang, Wi-Fi. You know what it is? It's football Sunday. Everyone's Wi-Fi.
Everything that we did.
Okay. Hopefully
we did not lose everything that we just did. But yeah, I guess we'll wrap it up here.
If you guys see this episode, that means everything worked out.
Correct. And if this never comes to light of day, then someone's getting hurt. Someone over at Cox is getting hurt. So really appreciate you guys listening. It seemed like we had some decent engagement, and I've gotten a couple comments from people saying they watched the last couple episodes, so that's awesome. And yeah, anything interesting again you want us to talk about, some topic, maybe a sport that we don't talk about as much, something that you want us to touch on, please do not hesitate to reach out. Go on, Chad.
I was just going to say some comments. We've seen some comments on some of the videos. I'd like to address some of those at least in the next episode or the coming episodes. So if you have any comments, questions, or topics you want us to talk about, get in that comment section because we'll be taking a good look at that here, or doing a better job of looking a good look at that here in the future.
Yes, definitely do that. Leave a comment, leave a like. We really appreciate it. And we will see you guys next week for episode 7.